who hasn't gotten one yet?
Hi, guys. Right after 11 o'clock. Sheriff's got some things he needs to do before he'll come out of here, so it'll be a few minutes after 11.
Margaret, mic check. Ooh, okay. Hey, do you guys want to do the package? Or you want to just kind of vamp for a little while? Danny and I can talk about this press release that just came out until the sheriff walks up. How long you guys think? We're good?
It's after the top for the hour.
Yeah, Danny, we just found out about 15 minutes ago that mandatory evacuation order will be going into place. It's that most extreme of the three-tier system that's in place for Santa Barbara County after the January mudslides that happened. Like you said, it's going to take effect at noon today. They want everybody out of those burn areas. If you know that you've looked at the map and you're in that yellow or red zone, that's where they want you to leave from. You can go to our map room on KUIT.com. You can type in your address, see if you fall into one of those areas, and then see if you need to leave. That's what this has come down to. We know that storm is coming in later. The morning started out beautiful. We were in Montecito this morning on Coast Village Road as well, just kind of assessing things and seeing how it was looking. We didn't see, the clouds yet, but now they have filled the sky, and we're waiting for that storm to come in later tonight. So this is getting serious. Sheriff Bill Brown, just about 3 minutes away from speaking to all of us here and giving us the very latest on these orders. So we were at the Montecito Inn earlier this morning. They have decided not to reopen today as was previously scheduled because of this storm. Cool.
Just want to make sure you guys are good to see for your picture, okay?
The Inn was also waiting just to see if this mandatory evacuation order would come, and sure enough, it did. We're waiting for Sheriff Bill Brown. Once he steps to the podium, we'll come back out here live. Danny, back to you.
They're calling him, they're telling me, can we get a shot of Corey and let the reporter standing in front of the police?
Sheriff will be out in 2 minutes, okay?
Two-minute warning. 2-minute warning, guys.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you for being here. As you are aware, a winter storm is approaching Santa Barbara County. Based on the latest information from the National Weather Service and in consultation with a diverse team of emergency officials from Santa Barbara County, we are issuing a mandatory evacuation order effective immediately for the areas below the Thomas, Sherpa, and Whittier fire burn areas. If you live below these burn areas throughout the South Coast, you should start leaving now. Due to the approaching danger and the potential for debris flows, we want everyone to be out of the area and out of harm's way by nightfall. It is important to understand that while this storm is not expected to be as powerful as the one that we experienced on January the 9th, it does meet the threshold for calling for a mandatory evacuation. There is a risk for dangerous flash flooding, mud, and debris flows. This is a challenging storm. Unlike the 1/9 debris flow storm, which came at us directly over the Pacific Ocean, this storm is traveling down the coast of California. It has gone through Monterey County and is now starting to hit San Luis Obispo County. And because of its direction and trajectory, it is impossible for the Weather Service to predict exactly where it is going to hit and exactly where the most intensely hit portion of our area will be. Because of that approach and because of that situation, the extreme impact, all we know is that the extreme impact of the storm is expected to be in our area between 2 a.m. and 8 a.m. Tomorrow morning, Friday morning. At noon today, sheriff's deputies will begin conducting door-to-door evacuation notifications in the extreme risk areas. They will knock on as many doors as possible and contact as many of our community members as possible. But due to the size and the breadth of the evacuation area, we will not be able to notify everyone in person. It is therefore very important that you spread the word about this evacuation. Tell your family members, neighbors, and friends, and it is also important that you help them evacuate if they need it. Please do not wait for someone to contact you in person in order to leave. Also, for those who don't live in an evacuation area, please be willing and express that willingness to take in a friend or a family member who has to evacuate. We know that evacuations are incredibly inconvenient and stressful. We know that they are a burden financially for businesses and that they are disruptive to schools. The list goes on and on, but they are necessary. Please know that we do not take evacuations lightly. We are issuing this mandatory evacuation order because there is a risk to life and property and a risk of a disruption of critical services. The school day today will be able to be completed as normal. If your students are enrolled in after-school programs and you live in an evacuation area, or you're in an evacuation area, you are encouraged to pick them up after school itself so that you have time to get out of the area before nightfall. The school districts will be contacting parents regarding the status of school tomorrow. A Red Cross evacuation center has been set up at the Earl Warren Showgrounds. Earl Warren is also accepting large animals that need temporary sheltering. For coordination, please contact Santa Barbara County Animal Services at 805-661-4332. Again, that's 805-661-4332. For the latest information on evacuations and road closures, please go to www.readysbc.org. If you're at all confused about whether you are in the mandatory evacuation order area, please go to readysbc.org, where you can find an interactive map and easily insert your address, and it will let you know if you are in that area. Again, it is not our intention to cause panic. We want everyone to proceed with this evacuation in a very calm and orderly fashion. This is the first storm since the 1/9 debris flow, and we cannot take any unnecessary chances. We want everyone to be safe and to be out of harm's way. So please comply with this mandatory evacuation order. Stay vigilant, stay informed, be signed up for those aware and prepare alerts. And I thank you in advance for your cooperation and your compliance with this order. And as before, we will get through this together. Thank you, and I'll be happy to answer a few questions. Yeah, the question is what changed between last night and tonight. Last night we had talked about delaying issuing a mandatory evacuation order. Actually, not much changed. What we indicated last night was that if the situation remained the same or intensified, that we were likely to issue a mandatory evacuation order. And that essentially is what has happened. We still have this potential threat that is coming our way. And it is right on the cusp of our protocol, but nevertheless, after consultation and discussions with the people at the Weather Service, and the situation that we have is such that this team of emergency officials made the recommendation, and I concur with that recommendation that we need to effect this order. The other part of that is, as I said, this is the first storm in the wake of the disastrous one that we had on the 9th, and we just don't know how our watershed is going to react to this. We've been told that it is very precarious and very dangerous, so we want to make sure that no one is in harm's way if we have another sizable debris flow.
Sheriff, can you talk about the 101 and any potential closing that may have to happen?
The 101 freeway will remain open so that people can evacuate up through the arrival and onset of this storm. It will be evaluated at that point in terms of the intensity of the storm. As we get closer to it, we should have some updates in terms of the weather and the intensity of the weather. And the Highway Patrol will make that decision in terms of shutting the freeway down if we have a period of time where we get inundated with heavy weather.
Sheriff, a month ago, so many chose not to leave in the state. Do you expect those conversations at the front door are going to go differently today?
The question was a month ago there were a number of people who did not evacuate, and is there an expectation that there'll be a different conversation at the door today or around the community? I expect so. I expect that everyone has seen the potential for disaster that can happen for an event like this. Again, we don't want people to panic, but we want people to recognize that this is an inconvenience, but an inconvenience is better than taking a risk to your life or to a family member or a friend's life. So we encourage everyone to cooperate with this evacuation order as soon as possible.
How many people are affected by this evacuation?
This area, in these 3 burn areas, the areas below them, is somewhere between 25,000 and 30,000 people will be affected by this. And that number is fluid because there are businesses and there are people that will come in during the day that don't live in those areas. We believe that in those areas there are about 22,000 residents. Well, again, it's not as though we're going to have everybody leaving at the same instant. We want people to proceed in an orderly fashion and to be out of there by nightfall. And the arrival of the storm is not anticipated until sometime after that. So our assumption is that the roads will be able to handle that level of traffic. The big thing, obviously, is having, and hopefully people have developed a personal plan and a family plan for where they intend to go. And again, those options include going to a friend or a family member's home. They could be going to a hotel that's either located in or out of the area, or it could be going to the Red Cross shelter.
Sheriff, I know you say you don't want to panic with your residents, but how do you express that sense of urgency and also point back to the 1-9 event?
Well, the 1-9 event, similarly, it had an impact in the middle of the night, and that's what our concern obviously is about this one. It's very difficult when you have something that occurs during hours of darkness and it impacts, in this case, at the extreme, the far end of the period where people are asleep and right up until they would be normally waking up. It's very difficult for them to really have an understanding of what it is. We want them to remain vigilant. We want them to be out of that area, and particularly anyone who's living in the extreme danger areas adjacent to the water courses. These are the areas that would have the most likely immediate impact of danger, but there are also potential for areas outside those to be impacted significantly, and that's why we've called for this area-wide evacuation.
What will you and your crew be doing also creating some of the other crews, the other emergency responders from now until it's safe? Yeah.
There's a lot of preparation going on as we speak. We have ordered up additional resources from out of the area. We will have swift water rescue team. We'll have additional firefighters. We'll have additional sheriff's deputies. Our entire search and rescue team will be in this evening and ready to go. So we are making significant preparations to have additional people and equipment and other resources available in the event that this does become a major problem.
How will you handle those people that don't want to leave because it's inevitable?
Well, as I've said before, we're not going to drag you out of your homes. This ultimately is a choice that everyone has to make. But as I've also said, this really is something that has to become part of the new normal for the southern part of Santa Barbara County in the wake of what happened on January the 9th. And evacuations hopefully are going to be short duration. If nothing happens, our hope is to get the all clear and to get everybody back in their homes and back to normal tomorrow. But if something does happen, we want to make sure that people are out of harm's way and that they're not going to be impacted by it.
The footprint for this is basically the same footprint as the yellow area on the map.
The footprint is essentially the entire red and yellow area that is on the map. If you live in one of those areas below the burn areas for either the Sherpa, Whittier, or Thomas Fire burn areas, then you are impacted by this and you are affected by this mandatory evacuation order. The question is, will there be any phone calls or electronic notifications? Yes, there will. Because of the size and breadth of the area, we're not going to be able to get at everyone's door and knock on everyone's door, but we will be sending out extensive notices ahead of time electronically. Anyone that is signed up for the Aware and Prepare will be receiving information. It's not too late to sign up for Aware and Prepare. Go to sbc.org, sbcready.org, sbcready.org, and you can easily sign up, and you'll get updated messages on your smartphone or on your computer that will keep you apprised of what the situation is. In the event that we have an extreme event, there may be some other types of notifications, but we may not have may not have very much advance notice of that, and that's why we're making sure that we get this message out to everyone now, so there's plenty of time for them to pack up, make arrangements to go somewhere else, and then actually do that. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. We appreciate you getting this message out to everyone and being our partners in that endeavor.
Do you want to see if anybody